I'm Athina and I'm grateful that you're here with me today. Today we are going to look at part 2 of my deck collection, and we are going to look at part 1 of the Oracle decks. I have too many Oracle decks, so I have to make more than one part. So this is part 1 of question mark. I don't know how many parts the Oracle decks will have. But yeah, I'm making those videos so that you all can know what decks I have and what I use. Mostly, of course, that there are some decks that I don't use often on my videos or for myself, and I like them to have some limelight, some spotlight on them too, and say, hey, this decks exists too. Of course, as I go through the Oracle decks, I will also tell a little bit of a story behind them, if there is a story behind them. Yeah, I think that is everything for the intro. Let's start with... by the way, I'm going through chronological order. I'm going to from the first Oracle deck that I got for myself till the last one. So everything is coming in order as I got them. So my first Oracle deck is this one here. Hold on. It's the Spirit Animal Oracle by Colette Baron Wright. I hope I pronounced her name correctly. Just that the deck that I got for myself was the German version. Maybe if you have been a viewer for a longer time period, you may have seen my German version being used in my readings before. But because I had some trouble translating the guidebooks messages, because you can see that the meanings of the cards are quite long, and they were written in German, and I had to translate on spot from German to English, and it was quite complicated for myself to do that. So I decided to get the English version, and the German version I asked 2 of my friends that read cards too if one of them wanted it. And one of my friends declined because she likes to have her decks in English. And the other friend said, well, if that is like this, then I could take it. So I gave the German version of this deck to my friend for free. It was a present. I hope that she likes it, and I hope it helps. So this deck has 68 cards, and they have both upright meanings and reverse meanings. That's why my deck, you see the cards upright and reverse, because that's how it's in the guidebook explained. You see this deck often used by other people on YouTube, but you see them only use the deck upright. They never use the reversed meaning. And that is quite sad, because this deck was planned and written to have a reversed message. So if you can see here, the Ant Spirit. Oracle message, it is when the Ant Spirit is upright. And then we have here protection message. This is the meaning of the card when the card comes out in reverse. So it has been made that this deck uses both upright and reverse meanings. Because I don't use this deck often anymore, I was never able to learn all the meanings by heart. It is 68 cards, and they have both upright and reverse meanings, so it is quite difficult to learn it by heart. So I can understand when people don't use the reverse meaning, because I like to use the decks as they have been intended to use. That's why you see the reversed cards pop out. And that's why I read, when this deck is used, I read it from the guidebook, because it's just, look how thick this is, how many messages there is. So I got this the German version of the deck. I got it in the bookstore, at the same place I got my first tarot deck. If you haven't seen the video of me showing off my tarot decks, I highly recommend that, because some stories align with the ones from the tarot deck. So I got this a little bit later, after I've got my first tarot deck. At the same bookstore I found my tarot deck. This was there because I was looking for an oracle deck to use, because I only had my tarot deck. So I went and bought it, my first oracle deck. So now introducing my second oracle deck. It's this one here. A lot of you may know this one, the Starseed Oracle by Rebecca Campbell and artwork by Danielle Noel. So there is a story behind this deck, quite the magical one. So it was at 2020, I think. I'm not sure if I was still in college or I already left college, but it was night time. I was alone in the living room watching a pick a card reading, as I was getting into spirituality, divination, and all that jazz. And the reader was talking about something, and I was like, something is bothering me. I want to ask my team. And it was night time, so I went to grab my oracle deck that I made myself, because I had the spirit oracle, a spirit animal oracle, but I had no such deck that answered yes or no question. So I made myself this deck with, in German, of course, because it's the language that I speak the most, and I'm more comfortable with it because I know more vocabulary in German than I know in English. But yeah, this deck was at the time still not colored. It was a work in progress, and I still hadn't had all these cards as I have now. So I was asking some questions to my spirit guides using my self-made oracle deck, and after a moment I felt the energy shift in the room. There was a presence there. I don't know who it was from all my guides that I have. At that time I didn't know how to get get their names or stuff like this. So, and I felt this feeling that I needed to go to a certain place. I just had this strong feeling and the strong knowing of I need to go to this place the next day. It was on a Sunday. Yes, I remember. It was on the Sunday, and then the Monday I had free. As I was working part-time job at the supermarket, and on Monday I had my free day. So I thought, okay, then I'm going tomorrow to this place, because I knew where it was, because I've Googled before where there are places that I could buy oracle decks and tarot decks, but I never went there. But at that night I felt the strong feeling that I needed to go to this place and to the bookstore. So I said in the morning, when I was drinking tea, I said to my mother, hey, How about I'm going to the city. There is a place that I like to visit, and I think at that time I told my mother already that I've read cards, because she said, okay, then I'm coming with you, and I said, easy. Just minutes later, I got a phone call. My part-time job called me and asked if I could work in the afternoon because someone called sick, and I was like, yes, of course, I can come. So my free day was gone. But I had another free day that week, and at that day I went to that store first, the first store. And now the nearer I came to the store, the stronger the feeling I got that something was pulling me. It was like there was a string attached to something, and the string was like pulling me into a certain section at that store. And it was right in front of the shelf with only oracle decks, because you can imagine that here are all the oracle decks and here are all the tarot decks. And I was pulled into the oracle decks, and I was looking like, what exactly am I looking for? And I saw this deck and another deck, and I was pulled towards those two directions, to those two, and I was unsure which one of the deck it was that I was pulled towards. And so I took both in my hands to feel the energy, because the empath in myself took over and said, yeah, which am I feeling a stronger connection to? And at that time I felt a little bit stronger to the starseed one, and that's why I got the oracle deck, the starseed oracle. I bought it and went then with my mother to the bookstore, because I felt the pull again. And the night before that I had to go to two places, the bookstore and the tarot oracle store. So I went to the bookstore, and I was pulled again towards two sections, one a book section and one the tarot and oracle section. The bookstore, it is everything together. So at the oracle tarot section, I was pulled towards the modern witch tarot, and at the book section I was pulled towards, I don't remember if it was a numerology book or if it was a book about spirit guides, angels, and stuff like this. I'm not sure. It's a little bit blurry. But yeah, that's when I got the starseed oracle. You have seen this deck quite often in my readings. It is one that I use often for readings on my YouTube channel. For me, not so much, because this deck is quite particular. It's the first deck that showed an attitude. In a way that whenever I wanted to get a card, an answer to a question, it will not give me a card, because if you've seen my videos, I shuffle the cards till the moment one of the cards jumps out. But this deck was particularly, when I wanted an answer, it would never give me a card that jumped out, but I would feel when the deck had something to say to me, and the moment I felt it calling me, I went to shuffle the cards, and that's when the deck would give me a card. So this was the first time I learned that not all the time you will get an answer to a question from certain decks. Sometimes they will leave you hanging with no answer. So then to the next two decks, oracle decks. I bought them at the same time at the tarot oracle shop, Mystical. There is also crystals that they sell there, and incense and books as well, that everything that related to spirituality, the occult, healing, as well as a bit, I think, what is it called, those theories that people have, like imagine that everything is like this and this and this, and they made it like that and that, because you never know if they are telling the truth or they are a little bit cuckoo. But either way, I went there again, and I bought two oracle decks. They are both in German. So this is one of the first deck. This is the deck by Doreen Virtue, the Butterfly Oracle. Because Doreen Virtue is not into the divination scene anymore, she told clearly that everyone should burn her decks and not sell them anymore. So this is one of the last decks of her that I found in German. There are some other of her decks still at that store being sold, but I think it is the last ones of hers, as she said that she does not want her decks to be sold anymore. So finding her decks is something really rare, and also it can lead to getting, if you buy it online, it can be that you are going to get fooled and get a counterfeit deck. If you want to know the difference between a counterfeit deck and a original deck, then I have a video on my channel. I think it is in the Tarot and Oracle section playlist. So you can buy a counterfeit, or her original decks are sold at a really expensive. They are really expensive, the originals. I had luck that I found this on the store at a reasonable price. So that's the Butterfly Oracle, and if you are into spirituality, you know that butterflies signifies changes and transformations. So this deck talks about different changes and transformations along the life. It's one of the decks that don't get used often. You see different types of butterflies in the pictures. It's really quite beautiful. So, and then to the next oracle that I bought at the same day. It's this one here, one that you may know of too, because it's used often. It's Yasmin Boland's Moonology deck, her first Moonology deck, because she has made two more after this one. I only have this one. I tend to have the other twos later. So yeah, I got this deck too. It's also in German. You see it often in my videos too, and sometimes I have trouble translating the cards' meanings that are stated here. It's not the correct one of the original English deck, but you see sometimes that I go take my phone to look up the English original meaning when I have trouble translating it. So then we have a deck that is used sometimes It is Angel Answers by Redley Valentine. You know this name. Redley Valentine has done some work together with Doreen Virtue while she was still in this scene. And you know that I first said that in the beginning I had no deck that would answer yes no questions, and so I made a deck myself. I later got this deck to be able to use it in my videos. It is in English because I bought it online. I'm not sure where I bought it anymore. I think it was on Amazon. And I was lucky that I got the original deck. So you see the deck has different colors. We have the blue card that gives you yes, no, and maybe answers. Then we have the pink ones that are quite like oracle decks, answers, and then we have the yellow ones, and those are action cards or time cards. Like they also tell you to wait or within a certain amount of time, like within the next few days, so you can discern the type of answer with the color of the deck, which is quite cool to have that. So that's the Angel Answers. So now you do remember that the story I told about the Starseed Oracle, that I was drawn towards two decks, but I bought the Starseed one. The second deck that I was drawn towards, my friend had this deck, and I once visited her with my decks that I had, and I saw that deck that I was drawn towards that she had bought too. And I was looking at the deck because I didn't have this deck, but she had, and I was like looking at the cards, and I was like, damn. And I also got a reading from her. She shuffled the deck and done a reading, and the reading the message that I got were like things that I already knew. And I was like, after I went home that day, I was like determined to get this deck too because I was drawn towards it, but I forgot about it, that I was drawn to that one and the Starseed one. And so later on, after a few days later, I think, after I went to my friend, I went to the store. I got the Starseed one and bought the Work You Light Oracle by Rebecca Campbell and Danielle Noel too. So I was drawn towards the Work You Light Oracle and the Starseed Oracle, just that I bought the Starseed one first, and forgot that I was drawn towards the Work Your Light as well, and didn't buy it. So that's when, after I went to my friend, and she did this reading for me, and the message that I got from the cards that she told me about were like exactly stuff that I already knew. Like, I got the Pleiades card with double mission, and I was like, yeah, I know that. I have a double mission. The Starseed Oracle has said this many times to me. So I got the Work Your Light Oracle too. And that's when I became a huge fan of Rebecca Campbell's work, because after that I also got her books to read. So then a little bit later on the line, I had no really a goal, and I went to the store with oracle decks and tarot decks just to look around, and there was this deck that caught my attention on the shelf, but because I am quite the small person, I am 158 centimeters, or for those that use the other measurements, I think it is 5 foot and 7 or 6, I don't know, inches, something like that. You can use a converter if needed. Just put in 158 centimeters into foot and then you will see. I'm not really a tall person, so I tiptoed to pick that oracle deck because it caught my attention, even though I could not see really what it was, because it was behind some others. And so it caught my attention and I pulled it up. And what I saw, I was like, oh my god, because it was a deck that I had on my wish list for a long time, but I thought that I would never own this deck because it is one of the decks that should not exist anymore. And it's right, the Romance Angel Oracle that you see quite often in love readings by Doreen Virtue. And as I explained at the Butterfly Oracle, that this deck should not exist anymore in its original in English, and if it does, it is either quite expensive on Amazon or there are counterfeit decks. So I saw this, the Romance Angel Oracle, but it's the German version, and I was like, okay, now or never, because if I don't get it now, I will never see this Oracle deck anymore. And truth be told, I bought it and I never saw it in the store again. This was the last deck that they had from the Romance Angel Oracle. If you have been around a lot, pick a card readings and love readings, you may have seen some of the cards already there, and of course at the few love readings I did on my channel too. It's when I pick this deck out or when I feel drawn towards using this deck in certain readings. It is quite a deck that is used rarely. So, and then, you know me, I became a huge fan of Rebecca Campbell, and then my soul sister, my friend, she got this deck first and she was over the moon with the deck. I was still waiting to get the deck because I was unsure if I should get it or if I should not. But the little devil on my shoulder told me to get it, so my finger bought it. And here we have the next Oracle deck of Rebecca Campbell, and it was the first time that Rebecca Campbell worked together with the new artist Katie Louise. She made the Rose Oracle, and you have seen this deck in my channel before. And the Rose Oracle comes with this card, the Rose Oracle Attunement, so that you can connect with your Oracle deck if you want to do this, of course. I did it once and never again because I don't feel this. Most of the time when I get an Oracle deck or a Tarot deck, I make a deck interview, and that's how I connect with the deck. And so here we have the Rose Oracle, and funnily enough, a few weeks ago, a week ago I think, or so, I saw that Rebecca Campbell posted a video on her YouTube channel, and apparently the Rose Oracle deck will get a pocket version. It's not, I'm not... This is not an AD. I'm not getting any money of this. I just genuinely love Rebecca Campbell's work. And if you are someone that has the Rose Oracle deck and likes to use it, there is a pocket version, so in a tin box, so that you can buy it and have an easier access to traveling with the pocket version, because having a deck this big can take quite some space in the suitcase, and I know because I did take some of my decks with me to Brazil. I haven't used them there much because I couldn't. I've taken some of my decks as well to Greece. That was a bit easier to use, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it takes quite some space, and some Oracle decks have a pocket version, an original pocket version, and not the counterfeit ones that are smaller by nature. So this was the first part of my Oracle decks. I'm glad that they all got a little time to be shown towards and talked about a little bit, even if they may not show up often in my readings. But from time to time they do appear, so look out for them. So this is everything that I have for today. I hope that you liked this little cozy talk video. I wish you all the best. Have a good day, night, or morning, and I will be seeing you in my next video. Bye!